and welcome back to another episode of Jason's Game Room, the only podcast here on YouTube that talks about everything gaming, from board games to dice games to CCGs to video games. And yeah, I'm still plugging that episode of Pog I did a while back, and you still loved it. That's why you keep coming back and listening to me week after week. If it has anything at all in the world to do with gaming, it's going to be on this show, and you're going to want to keep tuning in to see what I'm on about next. And what I'd like to talk about now that we're into winter and everyone's spending a lot more time indoors, especially this past year with everything that's been going on in the world. And like a lot of people, I found myself spending more time playing video games. Now, I used to be a hardcore avid gamer, and up until a few years or so ago, actually more like 4 or 5 years ago now, I was playing 3-4 hours a night of Battlefield 3 and 4. And I would do that with a group of friends. And even when I wasn't playing that, I'd still play other games in my spare time. But as life goes, it gets busy and we can't always spend a lot of time on the game consoles having fun. But with everything that's happened in 2020 and through the winter, I've spent a lot more time playing PS3 in my off hours. And I know you're going to think that at the mention of PS3, you're saying, oh, well, you know, they're up to PS5 now. It just came out. I'm a poor gamer, and I knew for the longest time that PS3 was going to be probably one of the last systems I was going to get for a while. And with that being said, I've gone back now, especially this year, and I'm playing a lot of my favorite and classic games for this system, not only to kill time, but to have some good old-fashioned fun. And it got me thinking about the games that I am playing, and if everyone out there is doing something similar. Have you gone back to your current console that you maybe haven't touched in a while, with the exception of the PS5 because it just came out? Are you going to an older console and reliving some classic games? What are you doing right now? Who's playing what? I'm going to give you an example of what I've been playing on my PS3, because I still do have a reasonably sizable library of games. Not only physical copies, but I have downloaded games as well over the years from the PlayStation Store that I still play. And here are some of the main games that I'm going back and playing right now. And some of these are all-time classics, and they're just a hell of a lot of fun to keep playing over and over. The top of the list, we have Skyrim. And Skyrim's one of those games that's hard to get bored of. Mind you, I can't play too much at one time because I'm at the point of the game now where I've slain most of the dragons. I've explored a lot of the landmass. There's not many things left for me to discover. So I don't go and play hours and hours on end like I used to. I maybe pop in for a half hour or an hour at times, and I'll go over some of the caverns and some of the dungeons and some of the castles that I've already been in, and I'll go and slay some bandits and some hags and things like that because it's fun. And I'm that guy now. Since most of the game has been completed, I'm still working on miscellaneous stories. See, I have trouble saying that word even to this day. And you'd think being a writer also that it might be easier for me, but no. I still like to go track down gold coins and finding things to sell at the local traders, either in Riverwood or in Whiterun. It's still a lot of fun just to wander around. And sometimes I go in there for an hour just to do alchemy and go find sticks and flowers and butterflies and turn them into potions. There's so many things you can do in that game. Moving right along, I'm not big on sports games as I used to be, but there are 2 sports games right now that I've been back playing again. They're 2 of my favorite in both football and baseball. That would be Madden 13 for NFL and The Show 12 for MLB. And I have played a later version of Madden than 2013, but the 2013 version is my favorite. And I've been going back lately in the past week now, actually several weeks now, I've been playing a lot of it and going over plays and just having some good old clean football fun. And it's a heck of a lot of fun just to go in there and do that, being a big football fan that I am. Same goes with MLB The Show 12. I have played a couple of the newer versions of that as well. I'm not thrilled with them. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like the 2K series of sports games. The interface is terrible, and I don't find them as good as anything that EA puts out or some of the other manufacturers. I'm a huge EA guy when it comes to sports games. And it's neat just to play as my hometown Blue Jays and just sit in the Sky Dome and bat home runs over the outfield wall. It's a great feeling. That being said, I don't always want to sit there and play sports games. And I have been going back occasionally and playing Grand Theft Auto 5 online. Not so much to play with anybody else anymore, because I've been there and I've done that. And I like to go in there to go look at and drive around my different garages full of cars that I've amassed over the years of playing that. And sometimes I still move a garage around. And it's great just to go screw around, because if you don't want to do any missions, you don't have to. If you want to just drive around and run people over, you can do that. If you want to fly a helicopter around the city and then jump out of it, you can do that. So every so often I go in there for a bit, have a little bit of good old-fashioned Grand Theft Auto fun. I'm not one of those guys that has to just go in there and kill people with weapons. I've never been that guy in the game. I prefer to drive the cars, and occasionally I'll ram cars into other cars and into brick walls, but I'm weird that way. Everyone knows that I'm an avid wrestling fan and have been for many, many, many years. And one of the games that I keep going back to play is Raw vs. SmackDown 2008. Again, there have been newer versions, obviously, of wrestling games, but the 2008 one has been one of my favorites. It has one of the best rosters in there, in my opinion, because, I haven't been a big fan of WWE in the last 6 or 7 years. That's a story for a different day. And I've already done a full episode on the Lego series of games, so I don't want to get too far into that. But one of my favorite Lego games that I recently have gotten again, I used to play it at a friend's house because he had it before anybody, but I ended up re-downloading it from the PlayStation Store. I got it on a good price a while back, and I've been playing it on and off, is Lego Jurassic World. There's just something about Lego and dinosaurs together that's always a lot of fun. And I've gone in there, I've played it from beginning to end. I'm on the last mission of the last section of the game, and I haven't just worked up enough, what's the word I'm looking for? I just haven't felt like completing the game just yet. I've gone back and I've unlocked a lot of characters, and I've been going into the different islands and just finding the hidden shit that I maybe forgot I didn't even know about the first time around. So there's that. And finally, this is a game that I was really hardcore into playing when it first came out, and now I play it once in a blue moon. It's not something I play all the time now, but Twisted Metal for PS3. Because seriously, it was a hell of a lot of fun. I remember playing it online a lot when it first came out, but now I just go in there randomly, play by myself against the computer. The problem with the game like that is, especially with Twisted Metal, it's hard to go back in and play after you haven't played in a while because of the controls. If I had any game that I was really bad at remembering the controls for, it's Twisted Metal. Because there are so many different controls and what they do, and then I couldn't remember how to jump. Of course, that's L1 and R1 at the same time, but that's one of the reasons why I don't go back in there and play it often anymore. It's because I forget those controls of that game more than any other damn game. I can go back into Grand Theft Auto, remember the controls. I can go back into Skyrim, no problem. Madden, MLB. Even some of the other games I have in my collection, I can go back in there. I'm no problem with the controls. Twisted Metal, no, I just sit there and go, oh no, what does this do? Oh, let's press this random button. Shit, I just fired a missile. Crap, I'm getting my ass kicked. Fuck, what do I do now? But that's the way it is. But in a nutshell, that's what I've been up to, going back onto my PS3 with all this extra time due to recent world conditions. And I would really like to know what everybody out there is doing on their own consoles. So after you're done listening to this episode, post down in the comment section. I want to know what you're playing and why. Maybe you're even playing something on your PC you haven't played in a long time. I've done that as well. I've gone and re-downloaded Settlers 3 for PC, and I played that for several weeks before I got bored again because it's a classic. But let me know what you're doing. I'm sure everybody has a few games that they really enjoy, that they've gone back and said, I've got all this time now, and with everything going on, I'm going to sit here and have some good old-fashioned fun to cheer myself up and be happy. Because that's what we need right now. We need some happiness. And sometimes it's as simple as just playing a video game that you enjoy and haven't played in a while. So if you're not doing that, get out there and do that. Actually, get in there and do that because you're doing it at home. If you are, like I said, I want to hear about what you're playing. Doesn't matter what system. If you've plugged in an old NES or SNES or Genesis, that's freaking awesome. I want to hear about that. Post it in the comments below. That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in again. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave comments, spray paint stuff on the walls, throw a rock through my window. I don't care at this point. It's all good. And more importantly than anything else, game on.